Your radio is currently tuned to Nova Southeastern's Make Your Radio broadcasting on WKPX 88.5 FM Sunrise. Welcome to episode 5 of Inside the Tank presented by Quarterdeck. I'm your host, Josh Raphael. Now let's kick things off tonight with our first guest, women's rowing head coach Kim Chavers and rowing athlete Krista Snare. How are you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. So, a little round of applause right there. So, I mean, we're going to kind of jump right into it. Kim, obviously, it's your first year here at NSU. Kind of talk to us a little bit about your coaching journey and kind of how it led to you ending up at NSU.
Yeah, so I actually started rowing when I was a freshman in college. So I actually started as a women's soccer player and made it to like mid-October, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm going home. Like, this is not the place or the coach for me. And I called my dad and I was like, hey, I'm going to transfer home. He's like, yeah, no, you're not. Find something else you like there. And I grew up playing sports, and they had a novice program where I was able to walk onto the team and learn the sport and just fell in love with it. And actually my plan was not originally to be a rowing coach. I went to graduate school in Boston and wound up coaching because I ran out of money, and that was my marketable skill. And so coached through grad school and wound up getting a real job and was coaching part-time and kind of had to make a decision of one life path or the other, and started into coaching full-time.
Yeah, and how has your transition here at NSU been so far?
Good. It's been a lot warmer.
No, I could imagine. And Krista, obviously, I mean, looking back at what you've done in high school, you know, you did cross country, etc. And it doesn't say that you did rowing before, so kind of talk to me a little about your transition as well.
I would definitely say it's an adjustment. I was more of a swimmer in high school than I was cross country, because I've swam since I was in first grade. And I think that definitely has helped me endurance-wise with rowing, since I would say it's more of an endurance sport in the long run. So I think that's definitely helped me. And I've always liked just being on the water. So I think rowing was just like a fun way to transition into something like that.
Kind of what made you decide to come out and try out for the team?
So on a funny note, my roommate and I heard out that like the rowing team is coming back, and we were like, oh, why not like just see what happens with it? And then once we joined the team, we realized we were like, oh, this is a great environment. Like, we loved all the girls, and it was just a good place to like get back some of that competitiveness that I missed in high school and everything.
And Kim, obviously, with this being rowing's first year back since 2019, 2020, what are some goals that you have for the program moving forward?
Yeah, it's been wonderful to have so many talented and diverse novice athletes join us this year. So we have just over 20 athletes on our roster, most of whom are all brand new to rowing. So it's been wonderful for them to learn the sport and develop, and to see them grow over this past year. And I'm really excited for us to finally get to competing in March.
And obviously, NSU has had a rich history in rowing, you know. So kind of talk to me a little about what that history means to you.
Oh, a ton. I remember racing as an athlete in college and losing to Nova Southeastern. And so I always held the program in really high respect as an athlete and as a coach. And so it was really exciting to be a part of bringing the program back.
Yeah, and Krista, I know you talked about a little bit before about cross country a little bit, and how rowing is a bit of an endurance sport. Has it been a tough transition, being this is your first year doing rowing?
I think definitely the sport itself is one of the hardest ones I've ever done. It's definitely physically challenging, but also more in a mental sense. But I have really enjoyed it so far.
Yeah, and kind of what goals do you have planned for this year?
I think I definitely I know like all the girls on the team, with being a novice, but we just kind of want to do the best we can and maybe like win a race being the underdogs. It would be really cool to achieve something like that.
Yeah, and Kim, I mean, like we mentioned before, you know, it's a brand new team, you know, and obviously that may not have been a simple process. Kind of walk us through that process and how it was, you know, essentially turning over a whole new program and trying to start your own era.
Yeah, so, we held tryouts on campus, so that was an experience, but it really allowed us to find a really great group of committed student athletes. And it's been an experience helping get all of the other logistics of the program, you know, sorted out. So things like our equipment and ordering uniforms and things like that. And it's been really interesting without having like upper class mentorship to see the team kind of take on their own leadership and culture with each other.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, Krista, you weren't an athlete last year, so obviously this is your first year being an athlete. Kind of what's the transition been like, being from kind of like a regular student to kind of having the student athlete life?
It's definitely been an adjustment having to work on my time management more with, the first 6 to 7 to 8 hours in my day being just solely focused on rowing. I've definitely had to learn how to manage that and then also my schoolwork at the same time and then also having a social life. So it's been quite an adjustment, but it's an adjustment I was willing to make, an adjustment I'm happy I did.
Yeah, and Kim, kind of describe with me a little bit about, like we touched on before, it's a whole new team, a lot of people who haven't rowed before, kind of talk to me a little about the kind of how it is training someone that's a little bit newer in rowing and training someone that's more experienced.
Yeah, so when you're training someone who's new to rowing, you have to teach everything.
Yeah.
Everything from how to use the rowing machine to how to hold an oar to how to, go from the dock to actually sitting in the boat to leaving the dock and taking strokes. So it definitely takes a lot of patience on both the part, I think, of our staff and then, of course, the athletes themselves, too. With experienced athletes, they can kind of jump in and get right into things. But we're kind of getting to that point in the year where our athletes are definitely more self-sufficient and I think feel a little more confident in the things they do during practice each day.
Yeah, and I know you told us a little bit about your coaching career, but again, kind of what led you here to NSU? Kind of what was the kind of like I want to be here? Obviously, aside from the weather, it's pretty warm down here, but what led you here? Like I kind of want to come here and kind of rebuild something.
Yeah, so knowing the history of the program and the caliber of the athletic department was definitely something that attracted me to applying here. But when I had the opportunity to actually come to campus and meet the staff and the support staff that's here, it's clear that there's a department that really cares about its student athletes and their success, and that was something that was really important to me.
And Krista, you talked a little bit about the transition. Kind of what helped you the most during this? Because obviously it's not easy just, going to classes every day and not having to worry about practice, etc. But what kind of helped you during this transition?
I think just I'm more of a motivated person with things I do. So if I start something, I know I'm going to finish it. So that definitely helped. And then also having making good friends on the team, especially with my roommate doing it as well, kind of helped to know that these people are in the same boat as me. So if they're able to do it, I'm able to do it too.
Yeah, and Kim, obviously, again, it's a new program in terms of, the rich history and et cetera. Kind of talk to us a little bit about practice, what's that's like, so kind of give us a little bit of a insight.
Yeah, so when we practice on the water, we typically practice in the morning. So
Yeah.
the team arrives early because there's a lot of setup that's involved. So everything from getting the coaching boats in the water to getting the oars and boats down, getting your station set up, and then actually warming up and getting into the boat. So it takes at least 20 minutes sometimes, if not more, depending on the circumstances, to even just get set up to start practice. And so then once we're out on the water, we do everything from drills that help us with the rowing stroke or rowing together. Rowing is a very interesting sport, especially in the 8-person boats, that you're reliant very much on working with the people around you. You can be a very strong athlete and a very skilled rower, but if you're unable to work with the other people in your boat, you actually slow the boat down.
Yeah.
So we spend a lot of time working on that, and now that we're getting into racing, we're working towards doing racing pieces and racing prep to be able to start our season in March.
Okay. And our final point, kind of little final point I kind of want to touch on is, obviously, we're very excited for this season. Kind of what can we look forward to in terms of this team? Like, what can we, say that we can look forward to for this team going forward? From both of you.
I go first. I'm looking forward to, so many things, but their first race.
Yeah.
First race as athletes, I think, is just an incredible experience and something that I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah.
I have to agree with you on that one. With never having done this before, we had a scrimmage in the fall, but I feel that was different. We were racing a different number of meters, where this is the first actual time we'll be able to do something like that.
Well, Kim, Krista, thank you guys for coming on. Thank you again for Quarterdeck for allowing us to be here. We'll be back with our second guest. Welcome back to Quarterdeck. I'm here with our final guest, head cross-country track coach Jonathan Carter and track cross-country athlete Ali Jakubiak. How are you guys doing?
Good, how are you?
Doing well.
And, Coach, I know you don't like to talk about yourself a lot, but I'm going to do the talking. I mean, you've had, aside from your coaching career, you've had a great track career. So we'll kind of start with that. Kind of talk to me a little about your track career and how did that get started?
All right. So my track career started when I was, of course, in high school in ninth grade. I was following the footsteps of my sister, who was a state champion in the 100 meters, and she was having so much fun out there running that I decided to also follow in those footsteps and continue to run. And here I am today, still chasing that dream, still chasing the track and field, track aspect of it all.
And Allie, what got you involved with running?
I mean, I feel like running has kind of always been part of my life, but it was sort of more just in the background up until college. Like, I always did road races as a kid with my family and, like, 5Ks for fun. And then I was a soccer player for, like, all of my life. So when I got to high school, I decided to do some mid-distance events in, like, outdoor track. But I never ran cross-country up until college, so now it's definitely more of a priority in my life than it used to be.
You like running far?
I do, yeah. Distance is my thing.
And Coach Carter, I know we kind of touched about your track career a little bit, but you attend FSU. You're, I believe, a 6-time All-American, and you're a very decorated athlete, to say the least. Talk to me a little bit about that experience running at such a prestigious university and doing that at such a high level.
It definitely prepared me for life. Being able to run at that level got me prepared and helped develop my character as far as being into the real world and society. I mean, going to FSU, I got a lot of experiences, being able to travel, seeing the different places. It actually helped pole vault me into going into running over in Europe. So I had a short stint running in Europe on the professional circuit. Got a chance to see some countries that I would not have been able to see had I not been running professionally. So just running at FSU gave me that experience that I really loved. One of the great things that I enjoyed this year, as far as being an FSU athlete, was getting the opportunity to bring the cross-country team back to Florida State for a cross-country meet where they got opportunity to see my All-American brick that they put at the school. So that was really a great treat for me to see, for the team to see that.
You ever miss running sometimes?
Well, I do miss it, but not competitively. I mean, I'd rather sit back and try to motivate all the athletes to do well with their sport. Sometimes I'll jump in at the end of the workout when they are tired, and I'll jump in the workout and sprint with them sometimes, knowing that I could probably beat them on that last interval. So I guess I do miss it some, but not to the point where I can run as fast as some of these young ladies and young men over there today.
Yeah, and obviously after your track career, you head into coaching. So kind of what steered you to getting into coaching?
So my one of my coaches, she got a coaching opportunity at Long Island University, and she was looking for an assistant coach. And I just finished my career at Florida State, and she asked me, she said, "Well, do you want to go and coach?" And I said, "Well, yeah." I told her yes. I said I want to go and coach because somebody helped me along the way, and it gives me an opportunity to return the favor and help out other young athletes. So I followed her to Long Island University, where I coached the cross-country and track team at the young age of 22. And from there, the second year at Long Island University, she decided to take another position, which put me in a position to become the head coach. And at that age of 23, I was the head coach at Long Island University for 2 years after she left, which made me the youngest NCAA Division I coach at that time in cross country and track.
And Allie, we kind of touched a little bit about your running career. What brought you to NSU?
So I'm from Rhode Island, so
That's cold.
a lot of people where I live have honestly probably not even heard of this school because it's kind of a small school here in Florida. But the reason it was on my radar in the first place is because this is actually where my mom went. And then from there, I started doing research into the school, and I found out that it kind of checked a lot of the boxes in terms of like what I was looking for to get out of a school. It had like the small class sizes and obviously what I wanted to study. And then later on, after the fact, I obviously got involved in athletics, so it worked out really well for me.
And obviously this season was kind of a breakout year for you too. Top 10 finish at the SSC Cross Country Championship. I mean, you're running your tail off. Kind of talk to me a little bit about kind of what changes did you make this year compared to last year?
I think a big thing that changed, like obviously aside from just additional training was like sort of my mindset. I think I was a lot more confident now, and I just felt really prepared and ready to go with all the training. I wasn't nervous like I was last year in the races, and I was just overall really ready to compete.
Yeah, and Coach, we talked a little bit about your coaching career as well.
Hmm.
So what led you to NSU?
Well, I mean, the first and foremost thing that led me to NSU was the academics. When the job was posted, I immediately went to the website and started to review the school, and the academics attracted me the most because I looked to a lot of the other sports, and when I looked at the other sports, they all talked about their GPAs, and I think every sport at that time was having a 3.4 GPA or higher. So that really attracted me to the school, was knowing that the academics was the first piece of just getting that student athlete into building their character. So that's what attracted me to NSU, the academics portion.
And how has the transition been kind of taking over the cross country and track teams this year?
Like anything in life, you have challenges, so it has been some challenges, but I think that through challenges, you build strength, you build resilience, and we've been able to go through some challenges, and we've been able to have some success out of those challenges. So the transition has been very good. I think one of the great things about the transition was being able to bring on one that I want to define as one of the best coaches and assistant coaches, and Coach DeBastos. Having her on that staff has helped me transition from the high school level to the collegiate level. So the transition is going very smooth, being able to have Coach DeBastos with me and through that transition.
And Ali, I'm sure you want to build off of your successful cross country season. Kind of what are your expectations going into track season for yourself and as well for your team?
I mean, anytime I compete, I'm definitely always looking to get new PRs and kind of just put ourselves out there, keep working hard, improving, getting better times. And I'm also really excited for our team to kind of showcase our talent and everything that we've been working on. We got some really exciting news over winter break that next year track is being introduced as an official team in the SSC. So I'm really excited to show everyone what we're capable of and prove that we're going to be a dominant force when that time comes next year as well.
Yeah, and Coach, I know me and you kind of talk in the hallways here and there, and I know you showed me a picture of, the track on grass.
Yeah.
Kind of talk to me about that and kind of how all that came about, because you're pretty excited about it, and I'm sure it's really making your athletes run a bit faster.
Yeah, it is. Well, they like it, probably not as much as I like it, but that idea came along. We wanted to give them opportunity to have that experience of running on a home track right at their on campus, because on normal campuses they can roll out of bed and say, hey, I'm going over to the track to warm up, and we didn't have that experience. So I asked Ryan, who's our facilities athletic director, what can we do to help give them that experience? And he said, would it help to put in a track? I said, well, yeah, we can put a visual in. That'll give them a great visual. So we put it in, and it's been out there about for 3 weeks now, and it has definitely helped us out a lot because, like I said, it gives us that visual of actually being on the track. And we train a little harder on it because it is grass as opposed to being on a rubber surface. But it gets the job done.
Yeah, and since we mentioned practice, obviously you guys have also practiced previously on a field honored to your father. So kind of talk to me about about a moment like that, kind of how that makes you feel to be able to practice on a field like that.
So it was very touching. I mean, of course, as we were driving to the track, you're driving there and you're not really thinking, you're just going to practice. But as I got closer to the track, I started thinking, this is the reason why my father decided to ask for a park to be built in that neighborhood, because he wanted to see the community come together. He wanted to see the community be able to use the resources that was there and be able to just continue to develop in sports or whatever it may be. So as I got closer to the track, I did get a little emotional, and I did tell the team on the way there, hey, listen, if I start to cry out here, please forgive me, because of the fact that, this was a dream come true, just for him to know that we got an opportunity to train there, and we're still training there. It was a dream come true. When I turned that curve off Sunrise Boulevard and I saw that name up there, it just became a real dream come true, so.
Yeah. And you talk about community. Kind of talk to me about what that community means to you.
That community means a lot. As I said, that growing up, I spent a lot of time at that park, and I've seen a lot of famous people train at that park. I mean, and make it to NFL, make it to the NBA, and just knowing that it serves the purpose of community. It serves that purpose of fellowship. Being that now we're heading into just a little history of how that park began. So, of course, segregation, and back in maybe 1960s, there were times then blacks weren't allowed to go to the beach. They weren't allowed to go to some public places. So that's how my father started that park. Was that he proposed to the city that they build that park in that community, so that we'll have that opportunity. Blacks have the opportunity to go there. So that's how that park started. So like I say, it was just a very surreal moment to be there, and it's serving its purpose to bring community and fellowship together. That's what I really love about it. Just walking in there and seeing that name and knowing that this is what he talked about. I didn't know what he's talking about sitting in his room late at night, when he's sitting there and he's talking about the things about the park and about why he got it started. But now, being older, being a little bit wiser, I understand exactly what his dream was, and I understand exactly what it was all about.
Yeah, and we touched on, your athletic career and your coaching career. How do you think your athletic career has helped you become the coach that you are today?
It's definitely built character in me. It's taught me to be patient. It's taught me to be resilient through tough times. And it's taught me to be humble also. Be able to look back and give. I mean, a lot of times in life when you are placed in positions, you don't understand what they are at that moment. But then once you're inside that moment, you know what your purpose is. Your purpose is to look back and bring others with you, not to just share it to yourself, but also look back and say, hey, how can I help this individual? How can I help that person? And just being just a giving person, and that's what I loved about my career. Just looking back, man, I think that I was able to help a lot of people along the way, and I continue to help. I mean, giving student athletes the opportunity to chase their academic goals as well as their athletic goals, just it's a dream come true. So I just want to continue doing that, giving back. I mean, you can see to my left here, we got a beautiful team that's sitting over there, and I really, love the support, and I just want to keep growing it. Like I say, anytime you can come back here and in this community and give back, I mean, that's amazing. Coach on a collegiate level in Broward County is the dream come true.
Yeah, and Allie, obviously only being a sophomore, you have a lot of time left at NSU. Kind of, what do you want to accomplish, for like the rest of your career going forward?
Going forward, I would definitely love to see my team win conference before I graduate. I think we're kind of right there. I mean, this year we were runners-up, so we kind of proved the preseason ranking wrong, and we're definitely putting ourselves on the board. And then personally, I think I want to try to get into the top 5 next year. I came 6th in conference this year. And then I just want to keep working up the scale, making the regional team, and hopefully qualifying for nationals before I graduate.
And what was that experience like? Because like you said, you guys proved the preseason ranking wrong. Second place finish, no fluke. You guys had ample amount of top 20 finishers. So kind of talk to me about that experience and what it was like finishing second.
I mean, that was really exciting. I was super proud of myself and my team that day. I think obviously we surprised a lot of people. I think that moment was really just kind of a culmination of all the hard work that we've been putting in, not only since the start of the season, but for the past year, really. Like, I know I improved by like a minute from my race at last year's conference, and we've been working since throughout track season, over the summer, during preseason, and then obviously training through the season as well. So I think that moment really just showcased everything that we've been working on.
Yeah, and we kind of touched on what you did different, in terms of for your personal track career. What do you think was the biggest difference for your team this year? Obviously, I mean, so many people are running so well. So what do you feel like was the biggest difference?
I think we were all really determined, and I think we have a lot of great team chemistry too. So we all kind of hold each other accountable and help each other every day through training. So I think just collectively we had a lot of goals in mind, and we all worked towards it together, and we were very productive.
Yeah, and Coach Carter, 3 months into your early NSU career, you were fortunate enough to have an athlete qualify for the cross country nationals, Lena Sadie. So kind of talk to me about what that experience was like.
Great experience, of course. I think what I got out of that was just the fact that we can compete with the best in the country. When we got out to that meet and we looked around, we realized like, hey, everybody here does put their pants on the same way we put our pants on. They compete, we want to compete with them. So out of that experience is just talk. We just want to bring out of that we belong to be able to compete with some of the best in the country, and we don't have a problem with putting on our shoes tight and getting down to business. Um, that's what I got out of that experience, just being able to realize that. I mean, going into it, nobody probably expected for us to have that success. But now when we're looking around, the whispers and the talks, people know who Nova Southeastern University cross country track team is all about. And I think that we proved that just through that short period of time, and we're looking forward to a track season to continue to build on that success.
And our final point, going into the outdoor season, what can we expect to see from both the men's and women's team?
I think we're looking to see if we can get inside the top 50 performances in NCAA, the list there. We want to try to get some folks to qualify or at least get inside the top 50 in those events. So right now, our team is heavily 1,500 meters up, 800 meters up to the 10,000 meters. So we're looking to see if we can get some people to qualify for national championship. We're looking to get some people inside that those TIFA's rankings to see if we can get them on to I think it's in Emporia, Kansas. I think that's where the NCAA championships are. So we're just going to work towards trying to get some people qualified to go to national championship.
And is that a hard transition in terms of, like, obviously you're coming from cross country season and then now you're going to outdoor track season? It's different running. At least I could say that. So kind of what do you think is the biggest difference, or do you think the transition is a bit difficult in a sense?
No, the transition is more about cross country. Of course, you got open road. You got more mileage you're gonna do. With the track season, you're gonna get more speed work. You're gonna do more things to get you better paces to be able to run the times you want. So that's probably the biggest transition. It's going from a mindset of running on a course to a mindset of running around the track. So, but right now that we have that nice grass track out there, we're making a good transition to the track season.
Well, Coach Carter, Allie, thank you guys for coming on. Thank you to Quarterdeck for allowing us to host our 5th episode. We'll be back actually with a twist on February 28th with Coach Freeland Curry and Jim Crutchfield. We'll be back. Thank you guys.
All right, cool.